for today's class, we're going to be designing a simple library of palettes. I'm calling library of palettes. I'm calling it good color. Essentially, it's supposed to be a curated site of items that I like, and or add just a curated site of something, and we can then the AI can then generate like palettes from each picture. There's nothing novel about this. It's just the idea is how can you get an idea to ship? How quickly can you do that? And that's kind of what I want to do with this class. But the stuff I was talking about, screenshots, was that if you are whoever you are, designer, non-designer, always have a stack of, or a dump of visual reference. Even if you're designing something, even if you don't have anything in mind, just have somewhere that you're dumping things that you like, things that you enjoy, because one day you're going to almost like want to, I don't want to say kill yourself, but you're going to be angry with yourself, because when you finally need that thing, you're not sure where it is. It's like Twitter, is it Chrome? Like, I'm never sure when your things are. And forget about all those bookmarking things, Pinterest and stuff. Like, you never go back there. But as a designer or whoever you are, you're always like on Canvas. You're always going to be on Figma. So, and why I also mentioned like this idea of getting screenshots is because with vibe coding, you can 10x the speed of shipping that you can do. And just by screenshotting something that you like, you can tell your agent to get, to generate something that has this energy or this mood or this tone, and you can change stuff up, right? So it's just good to always like have that, because it increases, like it accelerates how fast you can get an idea live, but it also gives you an edge when you're trying to come up with ideas, because you're constantly consuming like sort of good design, and sort of what the bar looks like, what looks good. You're experiencing that, and you're constantly like, even subconsciously, you're constantly on the look for like something cool, something nice, things like that. I'm going to go to the chat because I keep hearing that noise, just in case like somebody is saying something. Someone tried to say something. Oh no. Okay, I think this is before. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go straight to the thing we're here for, right? So before I actually get there, there's a setup list just for people that are doing this for the very, 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 very first time. And these guys, I'm just going to share view sites. I'm going to share the link here. So this just tells you what to download, why you need to download them, etc. Hopefully you can access that. So yeah, it tells you what you can do, what you can't do, things like that. I'll just go through it very briefly. If you don't have a code editor, you should have one. I use Cursor. VS Code is also fine. For an AI account, I use Claude Code, but I started with Open Code because it was free and I didn't want to waste any of my tokens when I was still learning. So I didn't want to use Claude Code. I haven't tried Gemini, but I hear it's good for like visual stuff. Codex, I've tried that. It's okay. I just tried it. I can't say much about this, but I hear it's good with like reviewing your code and everything. This one, it just lets you, it's got Node.js, just lets you preview your own site in your own computer without actually like deploying it anywhere. So just download that. You need a GitHub account, you need a Vercel so you can actually deploy. And if you're not a designer, you already know. If you're a designer, you already know Figma. If you're not, you can use things that are generative, more so generative canvases like Google Stitch. I hear that is good. Okay, this is the screenshot stuff I was talking about. Yeah, so we'll just cover everything else. This is just for people that haven't that I haven't started anything yet. So to the thing that we are here to do, I'll open my editor. I like to start from here. So I'm going to read it away. So I already created this thing. So what I try to do is with my first prompt, I like to sort of what I call reverse prompting, which I'm sure most people are used to. So I'm going to screenshot this thing that I have here, and I'm going to open my cursor. This is Claude Code. So I'm going to open my Claude Code and say, what do you see, right? Let's start from there. So that helps you even get a sense of what the AI can see if it can even read the design that you have, right? So once it does the whole thing, if there's something that it's not really getting, or you feel like, yeah, it's not really getting like what you have in mind, your expectation, you can then edit it, and then I'll tell it to get a prompt. So from here, it feels like you can see most of it, fanned out with overlapping, spreads like a card, blah, blah, blah. It's sort of going to details about even the pictures and everything. So I think it has a good sense of what is on screen right now. So I'm going to say, I want to develop this site, write a good prompt for Claude Code. So it's going to try to give like an idea of what I want, right? Two things I assume, just assume things. No, I don't want right for Node.js. Okay. CSS. All right. So I wanted to edit some things just on the stack side of things, but just for the sake of this class, let me just see what this thing gives us, right? So I'm going to copy this. I have two options. I can either go to Claude Code here and try and do some stuff, do some work, or I can open. So I'm going to do two things actually. Or I can open cursor and open, let me open one of the terminals and open this terminal. Let me just move that here. Sorry, I'm doing too many things, but I can come here and say that I want to open Claude by just typing Claude within the terminal. And that opens Claude Code for me here. And obviously before you can use Claude Code, like you need is a paid tool. Claude Code is paid, so you have to pay for it. Maybe, and it's a little pricey, so maybe you can pay with friends, get like a account with more than two people, so you guys can pull money together and get that going. So I'm going to paste the prompt here, and I'm going to paste the screenshots. I'm going to use screenshot because this is I like to use screenshot for the first time, just to get a sense of the site first, and then, right, so I pasted the image and I pasted the prompt. So we'll see what this guy does. This is my IDE. So this is cursor. This is Claude Code within cursor. I hear that writing on the terminal is better than using the app, but the app is simpler and more straightforward if this is like your first time coding. So I'm going to change this directory to a file called vibe coding session because I created that file in my project. So that's the first thing you actually need to do. You need to have created like a folder because that's where all your code would live. So create that. So inside of here, I switch that to that folder and I do the same thing. Sorry, close this guy. Paste this guy. Also paste this as well. And you have to be attentive to your terminal wherever you're running this because you have to accept commands. So just accept, really. You don't need to do too much. All right, so we'll see what, like, we can compare results, like what can this guy do versus this other guy. See where that leads us. All right, so these two things are still getting stuff, version of these things. So another thing I need to mention is skills, right? It is skills are essentially a replacement, almost like if you're a designer, you need certain skills to be a designer. If you're a front engineer, you have skills that makes you a front engineer. If you're a writer, if you're a poet, XYZ, right? So that's the equivalent here. Because some of these times, these AI agents, let me see, it's asking me if I want to use real images. Yeah, use real images. Yes. Because let's see, math driven. Right. So it's asking me a couple questions, sort of like clarifying questions on my preferences, what I want. So I'm just I'm reading through them. So it's asking me for the first series pass, do you want the Gasp entrance animation? So Gasp is a animation library, which it's auto-selected because I have it installed. I'll talk about like libraries and skills and MD files and all of that. Static, let me see, let's just do static for now. All right, so still going on. I need to accept, at some point I have to stop one because I can't keep switching between the two. Right, so in terms of just like, there are things that you need to front load your agent, your AI agent. So it has a general sense of like how to write code and everything, but because they're already like, oh, how do I explain this? Because it's just like when there's an open source version of, say, like there's an open source version of a tool that you like, maybe something that lets you record your screen, blah, 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 right? And make form videos. If there's an open source version of that, you don't want to build that from scratch, right? So that's all these things with like skills. Of course, you can maybe keep prompting your agent to be sort of the intelligence in this like problem space of, say, maybe front-end engineering. You want them to be able to make decisions as a front-end engineer, or you can just use a skill called front-end engineering. So there's this site, I'm sure most people here know it, or there are people here that know it. It's called Skills of SS. Skills, basically, by Vercel. They just put together a curation of agent skills. So if you want your agent to be good at writing, you can find a writing skill. Of course, you want to get skills that are, maybe there are a lot of people that are installing them. Not just get a random thing, to be honest. Like you can download that. So for any project you're starting that is front-end heavy, you want to download these front-end skills. Let me see if there are any other tools that I have that I can show you guys that I have. Sorry, the camera is sort of blocking my view of things. That is okay. Let's see. Do I should be able to show you my skills from somewhere? What's where the skills things are? What's going on? To show you the skills. Okay, I think it's on the other side of things that I don't want to switch. Okay, it's asking me all these questions. The other guy asked me to, so I'm just going to do that. If like I mentioned that, so it's in settings. Okay, thanks, Sharon. I'll see. Let me see what this thing is saying. All right, so it's basically telling me, just making sure that he understands the plan before he actually goes in. So let me see. Here, so now is the plan. So it's trying to plan before it executes. This is like one of the instructions that I had given it. As you're working, you're going to, because you don't want to repeat yourself multiple times, you're going to want to tell your agent to say, remember this, and it just writes it into its memory. Something Claude zone is called Claude.md. Sorry, yes, it's called Claude.md. I think codex is called like agents or something. I mean, something like that. But everybody has their own. Learning skills. There's no learning skill installed in this environment. I'll just use. All right, cool. That's fine. Go ahead. Da, da, da. Yes, looks good. If not for the sake of this call, I'd have gone through it like a little more closely to see what it's actually saying. But just from an overview point of view, everything looks fine. I'll go back here and see what's happening. Allow. I'm just going to allow always, so I don't have to do too much of these things. So it's saying is in settings. Where is this? My bloody settings. Okay. The capabilities. I think it's my no, not connectors. Where? I always go and touch my skills. My skills is not here for some weird reason. Okay. All right, so I think I've seen some skills. Right, so these are skills that I have. Of course, you can do yours. You can download more than this. These are just the ones that I'm seeing. There are definitely some ones that, because the chat and the code side of things don't sort of they don't communicate. It's a little weird the way that Claude is doing their stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that. I'm going to move forward with things. Okay, so I'm going to switch here and just say continue, keep writing the code. So you can see that it's beginning to scaffold everything in here. The code that is writing is already coming in. I'll go back to what I was saying about skills. Sorry, I keep switching, but it is for the better, right? So you want to, like, anything you feel like your AI needs to know of, there's a skill for it and you want to install it. So that's for skills. Another thing is libraries. If you wanted some kind of like, smooth scroll or like some kind of animation, there are different libraries that allows your agent to, instead of trying to do the math from scratch and figuring out what's the right way to get a certain result, you want to go the library route, right? So the same way you're using it's using framework to sort of write code, and it's not writing like, sometimes it's not just writing pure HTML, CSS. There's always like frameworks and things to use. So developers are good people, I like to say, because they open source everything. So there's going to be an open source version of something that you're trying to achieve. So even if you don't know of any library, you can just tell your agent, see, I know that, like, just use a library for this. It's going to do a website, find a library, and it's going to allow you to use. For me, that's like the biggest unlock for me. And to be honest, you can use a library and you will not like it, and you can revert and keep going. So why I say it's the biggest unlock for me, because when I was working on this guy, I knew the number of iterations I had to do for me to, like, just going through like libraries, taking what I liked for me to get these this carousel in this, like, first of all in this perspective, and then to get the states right as I hover, as I drag. It can be a little frustrating because your AI won't get it at the first go, and that's okay. Like, don't give up. Don't say this thing doesn't work. I know I had to still go back to Google, do like pure Google searches, go to like people's like old comments from people that have done similar things with Stack Overflow. Like just look out there. There'll be a solution for you. Of course, you can keep telling your AI this is not correct, correct this or something, but at some point it will start to hallucinate and it's just going to this loopy thing, and you'll not be able to get something out in time. So I'm just going to keep accepting edits from my agents. Of course, some people work with like they give their AI access to everything. I don't want to do that just in case it doesn't just overtake everything or just cause unintended consequences. So I'm going to come back here. So it's telling me this is my brief, and everything. So I'm just going to say, is this the plan? Does this follow my Is it okay? Looks good. So I don't want it to set up a spec doc because of time. So I'm going to tell it to just go, looks good, skip to implementation. It's trying to tell me on normal circumstances, I'll allow it to set up the doc, I will look through it, but because of time, I'll say skip to implementation. Trust. All right, so it's going to do that. I'll feel this. I don't know where this guy is, but it's somewhere, and hopefully we're getting like a good. Hopefully it kind of one-shots this thing. Hopefully, so we're going to continue to go. If you have questions, I think I can take questions now, as this is the first go of things. I'm going to go back to the call and see if anybody has questions. Okay. Yeah, so any questions so far from anybody? Okay, let me show. Yeah, you can go.
Yeah, hi, Lota. Thank you so much for sharing your process. I think my question really is basically if you had like a you're designing Figma, do you do a screenshot or how do you move your designs from Figma to?
Okay, so for Figma, yeah, so for the first, if it's like a small, simple site, I'm going to use a screenshot of my design in Figma or wherever the screenshot is. If it's something I want to do like component by component, or like I want to be like pixel perfect on things, I'm going to go to my Figma. And so I'll show you what that process looks like. Let me just keep accepting this guy. So let's say, let me do something, right? So let me open a project that I already have. So let me open my portfolio projects that I have. I'm going to just save file. Oh, new window. Portfolio. I'm going to open that here. Right. So if I open my portfolio, I think it's already open here. Right. So if I wanted to say if I wanted to maybe change something, I don't know, make some changes here with like something I have, I'm going to come here, go to the code side, switch to dev mode, and I'm going to see this thing called MCP. The only way you can see this MCP is if you enable it, and then if you, whatever tool that you're using, so I use Cursor, I use Code, I have to have the Figma MCP installed. So you can just go to Figma.com, their website, they will show you how to like download it, show you how to like use MCP and install it in whatever tool that you're using. ChatGPT, Codex, whatever it is, there's a way to do that. I'm going to just copy this example of prompts. You don't need to do it this. I'm just showing you like the way, like the sort of like the way that Figma has put it. But typically, because this is just the link to this section, I just come here and I can copy my section. Sorry, let me switch this thing because I'm in dev mode. So I can just, for speed, I actually just come here and copy selection. So you can do, you can hit Command L or Control L, and that copies that. And I can go to my tool and I paste it there and say implement this or whatever my prompt is. So I'll put the link plus the prompts and it will design that. So why open my portfolio project? Because that's essentially how I built that. I had to, because I wanted pixel perfection, I had to like copy. So I copied the whole thing at first and like the whole page, like the whole one page, and then I explained some stuff the way I wanted it, basically, right? It's not going to get it at first. That's okay. You just have to wait it out, really. It's a patience thing. And you keep prompting and prompting the same way you design, that's the same way you have to also work on this guy. Any question? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
All right, cool. All right. Yes. You can go on. Lua, to me.
So the question that I have is, was that the same, based on what Emisho also said, was that the same way you handled the cutouts for the, what's it called, that project you shared, the one where you can swipe through, where it shows you the tennis courts? So like those elements, I'm guessing you already designed them in Figma. Did you use the MCP to translate it?
Yes.
In code, that would be a whole lot of headache. So I'm just curious if that
Yeah,
was...
so I designed, let me see if I have the page open. Yes, I have. So yes, so I designed it here. Like obviously you can see like a bunch of different iterations of what I wanted to do. Yeah, so I designed here, and then whatever I wanted to see it in code. I would just the same thing, I'll copy it, same thing, copy selection, get my prompt in, get it there. As I'm design, the more you spend time designing inside like a particular session, is going to understand like your design choices. So of course you want to, if you have the time, you want to start defining like your like foundational design system. Like, okay, this is the font I use, or like your AI, can you just tell it like to you all your reusable components, make it all your reasonable like sections of the code that we're using, it can turn that into a design system, because that helps you. You don't need to start saying this is not my font, or like this is not the spacing, or like all those like miniature edits that you don't want to keep repeating. Is going to understand that if you set a design system. All right, so things are going up. I hope that answers your question. If you have more questions, please, you can go on. Any more questions? Okay, so if you still have questions, you can always ask.
Excuse me.
Yes, I can hear you.
If you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. So when you added skills from the website, it got me thinking, what is actually happening, right? Under the hood of everything you're actually doing. So is it mainly giving the agent a stronger framework, standards, or great ways of working, or can it materially change the complexity of what it outputs? So for example, have you found that adding more advanced skills can sometimes lead to overbuilding or over-engineering, where the agent introduces unnecessary complexity for some that have been shipped more simply, right? Or does the agent generally make those decisions anyway, even without these skills, right? I'd love to understand how. What do you think about that?
So far, my experience has been, I haven't experienced like sort of like a convolution of skills. Like all my skills, I don't have a lot of skills, so I can't necessarily speak to that. But from my experience with skills, is that instead of guessing a method of doing things, the AI, a lot of the time, this is guessing, right? Usually an intelligent guess. It can be wrong for some things, right? And maybe because an AI had this sort of like outputs. It has output A, right? And you do so. Tax 1 has output A. Tax 2, which is the same tax but just like maybe different variables. Without a skill necessarily, it can deviate and start to do something else. Sometimes it hallucinates, right? It starts to basically hallucinate, guess its way through, mess around, right? But with skills, because skills is essentially a list of instructions. Literally, that's what it is. It's a natural language. It's not like it's in code. So as you can see, this front end skill that I have here, you can see that, oh, this is the purpose. What does this problem, what does this interface solve? It's essentially telling you this is how you should design think. This is how you should make decisions on aesthetics. This is how you should do this. So it's essentially just a list of instructions. So you don't want to have contradicting skills, like, okay, maybe this skills is front end and maybe you have something else that is saying something slightly different from this guy, right? So that's what I would say. You need the skills to have predictable outcomes, right? So you can predict that, okay, because this guy has this skill as maybe a review, like a front end a code review. I can review your code, you can test your code, you can have a skill for QA, so you can do quality assurance on your code. That way, for each code, each PR that is going to review, you're sure that it's the same level of attention that is going to give every single thing that you do. Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? I want to go and accept these guys here. All right, so these things might be contradicting actually, and I'm going to stop it. Sorry, can you mute whoever is that person? All right, so I'll keep doing this. So I had to stop. I'll say this. So I had to stop this guy because I forgot that the other file on cursor was the cursor agent is actually running on the same file. So there might be some conflict. I just said there's already a package of JSON. I forgot to switch the file, the folder, which is working from. So I had to just stop that. So luckily for us, we'll not be able to look at we might not be able to compare. So that's just sad for now. I'll save my tokens, I guess. But yeah, any more questions? Let me see if I will be able to. Any more questions from anybody? Let me see if I'll be able to start a new session. Just call it something else. Project. Okay, I'll call it something else. So because there's a conflict because everybody, like both agents are trying to work inside the same file. So I can create a new one and call it like maybe session. Yeah, let's call it alt. And do the same thing, but that's just a lot of work. I can paste the same prompt again, just to see this guy is still working. Because it's trying to build everything from this ground up, it's going to take it some time. If this was like a real life scenario, I'll be inside Figma trying to figure out like other sections of my whatever I'm doing. So I'm never truly like trying to wait for it to do something. Yes, Victor.
Yeah, so there was something I noticed in your own process. And when you mentioned Dara, you mentioned Dara's vertical course. And I also had taken Dara's course back then as well. So there was something particularly mentioned about using text versus like using plain text or PDF versus using MD files, giving Claude MD files. What do you think about that? Because like you were kind of just pasting like a lot of text. And for me, something I'm always very concerned about, like as I'm pasting too much text, is like running my tokens a lot more than if I had told it, okay, go through this empty file and the instructions.
If I was building something a little more serious, I would have an MD file. But because this one is mainly just on the front end side of things, so I don't mind putting my prompts directly in there. Like I prefer to do that. If I had, so when I'll use the example for Cut Atlas. So when I built Cut Atlas, I had to, it has backend, it has all these things that's going on the site. I had to, first of all, write the plan, draft the plan with just normal ChatGPT, get an idea of like, okay, this is all the stack I want to use. These are the functionalities, these are the features. So it's for a more like full stack approach, anything that involves like a full stack, yes, if anything has full stack capabilities, you want to start with the MD and you want to start with like a fully sorted out plan first. Like you already know what you want to do. So that way you're not guessing your way with the AI. So the AI is asking you, do you want this? You're not really sure what you want, or do you want that? You're still trying to make up your mind. So that will cost you a lot of token, and that's not necessarily a bad thing if you can afford to do that. But you definitely want to have some things defined. That's why you have things like canvas-based tools that you can move things around, or like you can type away in like a Word document, or just try to figure stuff out a little before you can then carry that to your AI agent. When I'm doing something simple, like purely front end, I don't bother myself with MD files. So many of those things can be distracting to the AI. Like MD specifically, you just have too many docs. At some point, they will start to conflict. Maybe in this doc, you said we are not having this functionality, or like we're not doing this, and the other one you've forgotten to update that. So that's what I would say. Honestly. So it is still writing some stuff in here. He's using the wrong font, but I'm just going to allow it to do what it needs to do. So, yes, do what it needs to do. Victor, does that answer your question? I'm sorry, I just moved on to the next thing.
No, it's cool. Yes, it actually does. You just also mentioned something I was also going to point out as well. Like for fronts and stuff like that, do you like move your assets into like a particular folder, or you say okay, go online or something?
No, it can't do anything online for you except it's like a Google font, and then it's going to just use it. Like you can just name drop the font and it's going to download it from Google Fonts. But other than that, you need to, if it's a font that you need to download it, have it somewhere, and feed it to the agent. Yes. So right now, it is now to the heart of it. It's a little slower than I imagined, maybe because I forced it to go down a path. Yes, I get it's trying to. So you can see that it's even trying to. You see that the libraries is even downloading for you if you understand some code, or if you're not afraid to like look at lines of code. I mean, code is really, there's some understandable bits of it, even if you don't know any code. Like you understand font, you understand there are some recognizable pieces of it that you can understand. And I don't think you should like shy away from looking into just looking at it, even if you don't understand anything. There's always the screenshotting something and taking it into like ChatGPT or something to say, I don't understand this. If you are genuinely a curious person, when I was building Cut Atlas, I did that a lot because I tried to understand how things worked, or like what things are. I tried to, even though like I have like a really good, like I have people that I can ask as like really good developers, like bad guys, I try not to ask them, because if they'll probably just solve my problem, but I didn't really go through the pains of understanding what it is that I'm looking at. Again, that slows you down, but maybe you do it for the first few like sessions and you have a good sense of your code base. So if something is like, if you need to change something quickly, you know which file to open, or at least you have a sense of where something can be going wrong, if something is going wrong. Of course, the whole idea of vibe coding is to do it by vibes. You're not trying to learn front-end engineering or like learn how to be a proper like design engineer. There's a lot of vibe there's along with this, and you need to be okay with the vibe side of things, right? That's kind of the idea. I know there are people that are like really curious and they want to say, what's going on here? Like, why is this way? You can say, okay, you can tell your AI agent to write comments as they write code, so they're just not writing code. So anytime you want to refer back to something, at least there are bits of it you can read. You can read the comments in the code. So for people that don't know, comments are essentially, let me see if I have something here that has comments. Okay, I have this file here. Let me see if I have some comments. Yes, so comments are essentially like a Figma comments, right? So explaining sections of your code that explains a section of your code, which literally, right? So it will tell you that we're trying to, so you see what it's saying here, like it's trying to tell you how they're going to render your font, blah, blah, blah. This is what this is why they made this decision in this section of the code, right? Don't be afraid to look at your code. Like that's the first thing I'll say. Tell your AI to write comments, so at least you have something that you can read as a normal human being. That's not like that is non-technical. I'm just going to come back here and accept all these things. So it's trying to run the build. Fingers crossed we had like a good first shot. That's usually a good sign. Even if you don't have a good first shot, we'll work on it. And that's kind of like a fun part as well. Okay. Any questions from all these things I've said? I've said a lot of things about comments, and maybe that I have gone to technical, hopefully not. But any questions so far? Okay. All right. So no questions so far. Let's see what this has. For me, what's going on? Chrome. Why is it trying to open Chrome? Okay. Just run the thinking port 4174. Okay, so it's going to open. So this is the first version of what it did right now. So you can see that it's because it's not using the obvious issues that it's not using the right fonts. None of the right fonts are in. And also it tried to guess this guy, right? So, but you can see that the slider is not working yet. What else is not working? It's able to extract the colors from this guy. So we're going to open Figma and prompt from and get the right resources there from there. I don't know what this is still trying to ask me. All right, so open Figma. I'll try and close things I'm not using anymore. All right, so back to this file. So I'm going to tell it to just about use the SVG. Also, maybe that's a lesson for me. It should have actually started from Fig. Like if it's something I have the source file, if you have the source file of something, use the source file, use the link. If you don't, use a screenshot. So I'm going to save this thing here. What's this thing? Okay, save that logo. Let's save this here. So it's going to use that in there. All right, so what is trying to build? All right, so right now this thing is on host 4174. I didn't do anything about that. So the slider is not working yet, and then the logo. I'm not sure what this thing is trying to do. So we can start from the logo, right? We'll replace this logo. Let's start from the easy part of things. And for the sake of speed, I'm going to change my font to something in, well, I don't think I have the source. Let's change my font to this guy. I'm going to use circle because it's a Google to be somewhere. The fonts I had before, I don't think I have the web version. So just for speed, I'm going to change it. I'm going to re-download this guy. Please. All right, so it's trying to, I think it's trying to compare what it has, the screenshots with, so what it has implemented with the screenshot I gave it right now. I'm going to stop that because I have problems that I can recognize by myself. So the first problem is the logo. Let's try and see. So I added the logo file to this document, and I'm going to tell it to use the logo file added. I can't see the logo here. Where is it? Okay, it's here. Oh, it's inside this. Where is it in a nav? Okay, I'm going to bring it out. Delete this. All right, so I'm going to have it use the logo file that I have. Why is this thing doing this way? Use the SVG logo. I wanted to say long things, but I try to keep my prompts short unless the AI doesn't pick that up. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. So basically we're going to do that. What else did you not get? It got this guy, funny enough. So we're going to get a library for it to get this card stack correctly. All right, so let's do this, guys. So it's found, okay, it's looking at downloads. Why is it trying to look at downloads? Ugh. Okay, found it in the project root. All right, cool. So it's going to try and do that, and it's going to replace that. Then we can look for carousels library, but we don't need to do that. I'm just going to tell it to use a nice library, and it's going to pick one. I'll move it only. Then I'm going to have it update the font as well. So once it's done, I'm going to do that. So because of time, I'm going to open a new terminal and just open a new session and just keep going. So as this one is working, this guy is also working. So good to do that. So that's another thing. Have multiple sessions running if you want speed. Have the multiple sessions running. So I'm going to use this guy now, and I'll say copy link selection. I'm going to say use update the font from using the using the Figma reference. So this guy is going to do that. Then this one, I'm just half of the time what you need to do is just accept commands. What is he trying to do? Because wants to allow control this thing, access to documents and data. Do I want it to do that? Maybe for now, I'm going to allow it to do that, but I'm going to reject it later. So essentially, it's not able to take like screenshots or look at my Chrome if I don't give it access. So it's trying to do that. Both of these things are trying to work. What else? We need to get a library for this. So I'm going to open a new session. Speed, I need to do that and have it. Oh yeah, I don't want this happening. Why did that happen? Put it back here. I want this arranged like this, right? So do the same thing. Say Claude. Claude opens inside here. All right, so you can see that if you read this, you can see that it has found my font, the font that I want to use, and it's getting that in here. So next thing is we didn't get this guy, so I'm trying to get that here. And we say implementation of carousel. I'm not going to use so does not match ref. Can we instead, so it's supposed to say instead of hard coding, can we find a library that does this effectively? All right, so that's that. So too many things are happening now. So I have to go back to this guy. I hope these guys could do like, I have you like name your sessions. So like, because you're like, I'm constantly switching. You never know like, okay, what's this guy building? What's happening here? This guy is on Vercel's page now. Do I have to tell you everything? Yes, don't ask again. All right, so it's trying to find the font. You went to Google Fonts, you didn't find it. It's now going to Vercel's site, yeah, which is on the Vercel site. So if you want to download the font, just for people that don't know, it's on vercel.com. If you look around their site, you're going to find the fonts that I used, that I updated to. So it's basically going through here and downloading the font. I'm going to close that now. Okay, going back here. Is trying to update the logo. For me, essentially, to fetch content. Yes, don't ask too many things to say yes to. All right, cool. This one, say yes to. So lots of the times you're just accepting edits here and there. And that's fine. Just have to be on top of things. It's the variant. So it's still trying to get everything. Just update it. Why are you trying to see what I think? Okay. Okay, swap pixel and full match. Yeah, so just match it completely. Submit. All right. This guy, what is he trying to do? Okay. But yeah, any questions as I'm sort of speeding through this? Yes, Victor.
Yeah, so my question is around using a library for carousels. So why I'm interested is because there's this project I worked on recently that it was so difficult to get like the carousels to like in this 2D, like basically what you have on that Kotlin last site. I at some point had to screenshot your site and say, you know what, look at this, like look at this, look at the design. Why are you creating? So I'm curious how you navigated yours in terms of like what library did you eventually like settle on in creating this?
Okay, so I did sort of like reverse engineer. So I got a library that worked. I forgot the name of the library now, but I'm sure it's going to bring up some ideas, and I selected the one I wanted. Then the library was okay. I think it was able to get me. Let me see if I'm able to find the first version of what it did. If I go back to this tennis guy, yeah. So it did something like this. So you, oh my God, did I do this? So you can see that the cards here are slanting in. So the cards here are fanning in. Mine is fanning out. There's a different, like actually they're both fanning out. Right, this one is fanning out. Yes, they're both fanning out. Okay, so I think the first one, yeah, so the first one wasn't fanning out, it wasn't doing anything, so eventually got this place. So I tweaked the library to what I wanted, and then I told the I had to now move away from the library because it wasn't getting. So I just said, okay, use the mechanics of this library, but don't do this and do this. So I just custom made the library to fit my own needs. So sort of like reverse engineering the library. So because it understood the mechanics and like the math, so it's essentially math, like how much spacing, how much depth, how much curvature, like it's going to make all those decisions for you. Like it's going to make all those decisions with the libraries like mechanics. And then you can say, okay, you know what, I don't like this about the library. Can we move away from this? It took me the longest out of all the things I had to do. It took me the longest of time. Of course, there's a more straightforward, like, so I have a globe section in this thing. And because it was a direct library for this. I think it was called Cobe, let me see, Cobe Globe or something. I think it was Cobe Globe. So I just used this guy's stuff. Essentially, and it was like the fastest thing that I did. You'll be lucky and you find like a library that is doing exactly what you need, and you don't need to start figuring out, you start fighting with your AI agent on how to do this. So I just use this guy directly. I can just put the chart, I'll just put it on the chart so for you to use. But yeah, essentially the guy works at, I think he works at Vercel. It was a pretty cool thing that I used then. Okay, does that answer your questions? I'm going back here.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
So it's trying to get everything. Hopefully they don't clash. All of this guy. Hey, so yeah, so it's using Swiper. Swiper I used. Let me open Swiper to be sure. So it just Java.js, yes. So it's actually Swiper that I used. Most of these like mobile apps use this guy. So is what I use. So I think there was a playground that I was able to play around with. Maybe I was able to actually go ahead. There was a playground, yes. I opened the playground. Let me see. It's not loading pretty fast. So let me just share this on the chat too. We need to check out. So this one was good. It got me to a good place. I was finicky about how I wanted the things to go. And I'm sure there are more like more modern more modern like libraries for these things. To be honest, there are definitely more of that. So here with this library, you can play around with the way that it looks. Right now there's no space between these things. Yeah, it can be a little tricky, but really and truly, this is what saved my life that day. I need space between these guys. Parallax. Red column. Good news. Center it's okay. Let me go back to where I was. See what's happening here. So it's trying to do common things. That's red. Okay, something's happening there, which I'm not sure what's happening. Obviously, there are a lot of things that's happening that you're not sure is happening, and that's okay. Like sometimes going to try an error and to continue and things like that. That's totally fine. This is vibe coding, so that's completely okay. Completely fine. At this point, I'm not sure why this guy is still working since how long ago. Let's see what's happening here. Okay, so this is down for some weird reason. Okay, try to do anything. The dev run is down. I'm going to try to run it myself. Enter. Okay. All right, so it's trying to still us for this. Why is it trying to overwrite it? What the hell happened? Okay, so it's trying to use swiper. So I think he used something else. So it's trying to rewrite the code with that. All right, so writing this guy. Sorry, what? I'm going to. Sorry, I just stopped the wrong code. Please. What are you doing? Sometimes, yeah, it has to be doing something you don't understand. I'm not sure what that guy is trying to do for this while. So I'm going to want to know what it's doing right there. So, what else can I see about these things? Sorry, let me explain fully. Explain what you're trying to do, I think. Okay. Okay, wait, what this is? So what was there? Fix the broken image path. I not what I now say. Okay. I was trying to update so many things. Like in the robot, do you want to think? No, don't do anything for now. I have too many things running. All right, so just to be sure, I don't want to start. I know this somebody is what's this one? One of them might be trying to open to run the app locally. So I'm going to do it myself. So I use I could use the regular terminal, to be honest, but I'm going to use Ghosty. Something called Ghosty because it's just more user friendly. You can obviously use the default one that comes with your app, with your computer. So I'm going to copy. So if you press Option, you're going to copy the path name. That's what I do. So this allows you know the directory. So file folders are called directories. So you can do change directory. So right now it's on your default, like just your, actually it's on Lotafolio. So it's on my portfolio's directory. It's called Lotafolio. The name of my folder is called Lotafolio. So I want to change. So CD is change directory. Change directly to vibe coding session, the projects, and that's it, right? So I can do npm run dev, and that's supposed to run my, why is it trying to access? All right, is that going to try to run my my listing locally. So I'm going to now come here and it should be open. So because all those guys are working and trying to run the files, that's why you're seeing it like this. Any questions, or have I confused people? All right, at least these guys are okay. Okay. Any questions so far? Dectile. Why is he using 30? That's not the plan. So the thing that he has gotten right is the font change, the logo update as well is up and running. This guy too is here, and then the extraction is correct. So our main problem now is what so you can see that the swiper stuff is already kicking in from the code that is writing. So our major problem would then be to this would be a little tricky, but to make sure like all these to the right spacing that we need. This guy is always centered, this one as well. So it will take a little here and there for us to get there. But this is essentially the loop of things. It's still writing the code for the swiper. As you can see, so it's not done yet. Any questions? What time do you have? This is already to 8. Any questions so far? Okay. All right, so we need to get this color palette to work. So I'm going to go back to my file and I'm going to copy it. But it's not. And I think I know why this thing didn't work. When I think back to my first prompt, I don't think it captured this slider. I'm not sure. Now I'm thinking about it. I don't think it captured the slider because it was supposed to one-shot this. There's nothing hard about this thing. I'm not sure why I just didn't get that. All right, so let's go correctly sites now. They are not spread apart. We are spread apart. You got okay. Let's get this to okay. So that's the next thing. So I'm just trying to see. The idea is to input. So I'm just getting on to the next stacks, try to go through everything. Ba, ba, ba. So it's essentially taking a screenshot of what he has done and comparing it with my Figma and try to correct itself. Of course, I can stop it. You can see that it's trying to make it tighter because the Figma was tighter, all of that. Again, yeah, it's highly iterative. We are still like miles apart from where, not miles, but just we're not there yet, like to the T, because we need to get like pixel perfection. But we can just focus on like getting the functionalities to work. The slider I need to start working. Yeah, and then we want to before this call ends, I want to ship to Vercel just so that you can have this. I can share the live code and people can play around with the site, and then maybe you can try to get this like pixel perfect on your side, or like add, like make it a bit more, like make it your own. Is what I'll say. It's trying to read the Figma tool, blah blah blah. All of that's happening there. At this point, what is this guy doing? And you know, sometimes you allow the LLM do what he wants to do. And at some point, I'm going to stop it. What am I trying to do? npm build. All right. So it's done with updating my files, my font files. Okay, so it thinks that the slider is supposed to update this. That's what it's doing, which is terribly wrong. So once I get the slider to work, okay, this guy is still trying to clean up. Once I get the slider to work, I'm going to ship to Vercel to deploy to Vercel, and then I think we can call it a day. How are you feeling? Just checking that people are still here and I'm not talking to myself. But yeah, is this an overload? Are we still together? Do we have questions? Do we have everybody's saying thumbs up. Do we have questions or no? Okay. Oh, good. Okay. All right. So it's trying to hue knob now slice with active card. See, it thinks this is this hue knob when it's not. So that's wrong. Which I don't know why that's happening. So we're going to open source this, number one, then also get it deployed. Two things are going to happen. When the drag comes in, what should display to? First of all, it's not a hue. You drag the hue knob. What should be the hue under the knob? The hue under the knob, yeah. So it's asking me what I want to do for the hue knob, so I can decide anything. But I want, just making sure, I want the hue under the knob text, yeah. So yes, cards recolor too. What would we call it recolor? Swiping to an email moves the knob and shifts the background to match. No. Swiping the cards just moves the knob. No. I don't know. So swiping the card does nothing really. Only move it has nothing to do with what just happened. Where is my chat? Has nothing to do with. Okay, I'm just going to chat about this. Has nothing to do with the site color. That's not what I want. All right, so okay, I already have this slide running. So just giving this guy feedback. All right. Still running. If you like, let me stop it. No, maybe do. All right. So I'm just trying to read everything with this guy. Wait for this this slider to work. We can start committing stuff to GitHub. Commit. So just to git add. So git add is a command that basically changes all the changes that you have made so far. So it's going to list everything. Then we can decide which ones we want to commit or which one we want to leave out. So of course you can write this in like natural like language, like how you would say, okay, I want this to be up on GitHub, blah, blah, blah. Or you can just, the less was the better, but you can just say git add or whatever command. Of course, it's not even reading this as a, like as like command line, it's still reading it as natural language, but just 2 words. Hope nothing has changed here, because you never know with these guys. So I added stuff to my repository and everything in there. Okay. Let me see, nothing here, right? Cool. that's fine. Commit. That's okay. Generate one. So it's asking if I commit message. So I'm going to just tell it to generate one. So why you want to use Git is that, you know, just to help you track your file changes, your code changes, and to have a place so you can sort of undo some of the changes that you're making. So if I commit this version of this product now, this site now, and say I make, a couple days later, I keep making changes, but then something breaks and I want to return to this version because I have it committed on GitHub. I don't have to panic. So it's a version of so it's version control, basically, just controlling the versions of product that you have. That's why Git and GitHub is essential for anybody that is building something. So it's trying to work on the slider. This is my code. I want to proceed. Trying to say yes to all these things. Taking some time. So it's committed. Committed from color hero to good color hero to swiper carousels, palette dots, hue slider as well. So I can then say push it to
Sorry, question again, if you don't mind.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so just before you pushed, my understanding is you committed locally.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay, because I noticed you were hovering on GitHub, which is
okay. Yes, I just opened it. I think I was just talking about it. I just opened it.
I see.
Nothing crazy. So we can make it public. Sorry. Okay, I used to say something. Sorry.
No, that's it. I just wanted to be clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Of course, you can come into GitHub like I wanted to, and create the file from here, set it up, and then copy the link and go back to your. So if I wanted to do that, that's what I would have done. I come to my repositories, create like a new one, and name it what I want to name it. Create. This is essentially what this agent is trying to do for me now. Create it, set all the configuration, but I have the LLM, so you can do that for me, and I don't need to stress. So yeah, good color is a good name. That's fine. And then so it's trying to push there right now. So once we push GitHub, I think we can start getting this. So it's live on my GitHub, and I can see that here. It's here. Of course, I need to clean up these files, but I think that so far, anybody can then see the files, right? So yeah, we have it here, good color. The next thing would be to deploy. Okay. Deploy on Vercel. So that means you can access it from your computer and not just that it's live on my computer. So that's what it is. I mean, we use Vercel. I mean, it's the cool. This is like, obviously you can use Netlify. There are a bunch of other free ones, but cool kids. Everybody's using Vercel, so that's fine. So it's going to want to deploy it. You can see that I'm running the Vercel skill to do that. So let's see what this guy has. Okay, so it's changing what we want. What we want to have changed. So this is not working. We will need the we don't need it to be a gradient. I'm not sure why it's preferred to use a gradient. Get to that. But essentially it's working. Part of it is working. So we can tell it to make it a flat image, not a not this thing. So I can open up the cell, have some projects there. Of course, like when you go through like the setup checklist, you're going to see like all these tools that I'm calling and what I'm using. So you're going to have it downloaded anyway. So we have that in here. So good color is already here. And once it's done, we're going to have it live. So I'll say that if you want to run multiple sessions and still understand what you're doing, like multiple sessions, I mean more than 3, because running anything more than 3 here, you're not sure what is running in what session. So using like Claude code from here, that way you can even rename like the file names and call it like the actual exact thing that you want to do, and just like go from there. So that way you're not thinking, what am I actually doing here? You're just kind of blazing through everything that you're doing. Let me see what's happening over here. I'm trying to open this file. I'm not sure how to it open. All right, so I think this guy is fine. I'm trying to do too much. Okay, something wrong with the build. Okay. Let's open this. All right, so I think we have deployment here. So we have a version of it here while we still, which I'm just going to share. We can play around the cider. Yeah, we have it deployed. It's a very early version of it, but it does the function which is extract and some of the slide. So the move the way I want it to. I can still tweak that with the tool that with the swiper.js playground. I can actually go into the playground and try to see what exactly I want, what properties I want edited, at least what they are called at least. Then I can then go to my agent and now say, okay, I want this to move this way, or I want this to do this, I want this to do that. So yeah, we can add even more images so it fills up more space. And yeah, I think that we are happy with this guy. I'm just link this thing. So the build is up. This is working, but it's the gradient. I want it to be a flat color, so I'm going to change that. Then it would be also nice to have this this vector always centered to the image. So there's some math I need to do to make sure that the size of this card matches, and then it's always like pinned to this guy. Because I can explain all these things to the AI, but that's the essential idea of this, guys. Let me wait for what else is still running. I think okay, everything here is actually running. It has made some changes, so I can still tell it to push to GitHub. And once I'm comfortable with the change that I like, I push to GitHub and things like that. But yeah, any questions? Any questions as I go on? Okay, so we have some more time, so I'm going to keep editing this guy. So the color display that works. So it's good to give positive affirmation when it does something, so it knows not to touch something. But the color, the site should be a flat color, not a gradient. Right, so it's going to do that. And get that up here. So the tricky part is also this guy. So let me go to this swipe. So this is deployment. Let me ask it. So how I try to understand what works so I know what to change. So how does the carousel work? So I try to reverse it. It's going to explain how it works. So I say, okay, I don't want this to work this way. This is what I want to change. So it's going to try to decode the code that it has, and then I can then say I can now pick and choose what I want to change about the implementation. So it's removing the gradient, giving me flat color. I'm going to add more images or make the images bigger, I think, actually. Or Wow. How long has it been happening? You're not. How long have I been muted? I noticed that. Let's see here. What was I hearing? How long? Sorry, how long, Salua? Has it been long?
Yeah, for a while now. Let's say like 2 minutes.
That's crazy. If it happens again, can you leave a comment? Because I suspected that was happening, but I didn't want to leave where I was. Okay. Let's see. I hope this doesn't happen again. All right. Okay. So I'm trying to understand how the cover flow effect works. This is from swiper.js. So basically, these properties can be edited to get like so to get your desired to get it to your taste. You can edit that. I can edit that guy. So I'm just going to do a couple changes and see what that looks like. So I'll just do something like 100. The Control S. So that'll be my local host. Why did it forward? Okay. Okay, so that means I have to. Okay, so I have to, don't tell me I have to build next to it. How can I, so how can I see? Let's see. Sometimes that's okay. That's fine. That's fine. So I'm not sure of my config on if I need to do that, if I need a different build, because let's see, why is this okay, so why is not this? Okay, so all right, so that should be fine. How much? Oh, okay. So that changed it. Interesting. All right, so what was it before? 50, maybe? All right, so that goes back. So you can see that as I change properties here, so let's say I don't know what modifier does, so I'm just going to try and see. Okay, so it does this, not want that. So it can get it to do different things. So like the stretch, I want some space between this. Hopefully I can see where to do that. Okay, so the first thing is add slide. Let's do that first. Because I want it to flap. Then the spacing on the images. So I have no images. What is the person saying? That's fine. All right, so this is now flat the way that we want. That's okay. Okay. Then let me see. We need more spacing on the carousel. This one will be a tricky one, but how do we get this component here to be fixed on the center card? That's a little tricky because sometimes the cards aren't centered, so they are moving to the left, to the right, versus this guy where, okay, actually the same thing, we move left to the right. So if I want that to work, one card needs to be fixed, and we don't want that, so that might be fine to leave the way that it is. All right, so maybe we can separate them, so it's like a standalone component and separated from these images here, or just this section. So I want to add a gap between the carousel and that. So that's the next thing I need to do. So just add those guys. Just add those guys to the set of things. Then okay, so the spacing is next, so it looks good. So what should I call this slider? Of course, I can try to look at the files to find the code, and I can try to put this in a focus mode. I can try to look at the code and try to say, okay, how do I add the gap and stuff like that? If you want to save your tokens, you should go that way. If not, you can just prompt it from this piece. It's in the carousel section. Section, and of course I can try to, this is what I'm saying, add this gap. It's going to guess. Another thing I can do is actually add that gap here. And I can add that gap here and then show it, like add this much gap. All right, which is something I should actually do. Let me actually do that. Service trying to guess. Use the design reference. What else do we want to do? So use the design reference. The length. Okay. So has it added it? Let me refresh. Not added it. What are you saying? Oh, shit. Why is it trying to do that? So just trying to get these guys in. Anyway, so mostly a lot of the times, this is a very iterative process with the code, because for us, we are people that are non-technical and we don't necessarily know where to change what. Sometimes you might have an understanding of, okay, this is what we can tweak, this is what we can change. Other times, not really. So don't get frustrated. Try not to, well, you will get frustrated, but try not to get frustrated as much when things are not necessarily working exactly as you want them to. Like, give yourself a little more grace and just like go through the motions with your agent. A lot of the times, like just know that the code is not necessarily the code can be bad, but the logic is right. Maybe it might not fit your own logic, but the way that math is math, like 1 + 1 is 2, like it's never going to mix up stuff. Everything that it's doing is very objective. So it just understand, okay, maybe it's thinking the wrong way because it's obviously garbage in, garbage out. So you want to be on the steering wheel and drive, okay, don't think this way, this is what you should think instead. Yeah, so you're thinking, as it's thinking, you're also thinking, because you're the one that defines what is good enough for the LLM. Does anyone have questions? I know we've been here, it's past the time, but if anyone has questions, can take those before, we call it a day and night. So yes, Victor.
So does feature, so I don't know if it's on Cursor. I don't know if this is Cursor you're using, yes?
Yeah, this is Cursor.
Where you could point like the agent, okay, this is part of the design that has, or you could even circle things. I think it's on Claude Code. I don't know if it's on Cursor as well, because I was considering actually myself.
Okay, I think I saw it on Claude Design, Claude Code, like that, whatever tool that is. But there are tools that I use for that. There's one called React Grab that you can install. So it basically lets you like grab the UI elements and tell your agent like change this, blah blah blah. So essentially it's basically, so you have this kind of like floating thing here, and you can say, you can grab your UI like this. So this is it. Tell it, oh, change, I need blah 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 blah, and it sends it to your LLM. So so depending on the project I do, sometimes I install it, sometimes it's very annoying and I don't install it. So because my project is using Vite, I can install this. There's another one too. So there's React Graph. I can share this on the chat. There's another one too that allows you to do that. It's called Agentation by Benji. So it's actually the same thing. UI annotations do the same thing. So this is like a mock of how it works, this feature. So you can mock it up. I guess it's more like Figma because you can link multiple and then send to your Claude Code. Of course, I like Agentation better, although I've not tried it, but on the mock I've seen, I think it's better than Grab React. Don't quote me, I have actually not tried that, but I think looks better than it, so you'd be able to do some work. But yeah, Victor, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. So basically, you're saying you have to install something like an external third party.
Yeah, for cost, I think Costa doesn't do that yet. Code, I think they only have it on the design side. You have to install these guys. Okay. Any more questions? Go back to this guy. Okay, so it's been able to add pictures for me. Oh wait, this is my prod. I have to look at this guy. So let's add the pictures. It's also been able to separate this guy. I need it to move up, and I need to. What else do we need to do? I think we need to increase the size of that. It's always trying to verify the gap against the reference. So you're not verifying. Let's see. See that what you did. Did they manage slider? No. Deck, not slider. All right, so I want to change some things here. So let's take straight 200. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that doesn't look good. All right, so let's do 50. All right, so that space is like a little more. We need to space it out a little. 40. So I'm just going to close this guy. Okay, so now some issues. Okay, we're about to get something better than what we had before. How do we get? Alright. We need to move these things up. I think that's the first set of things. So let me install indentation. I can see what that looks like now. What's the place to install this thing? All right, so copy that. So I want me to run. I'm going to help me run that. I don't even know why I did it here. Should have actually installed it by myself. But it's all good. So I'm going to try out this visual feedback tool, see what that looks like. But we are almost done. And you can see how iterative this thing is. It's literally, it's not that I guess magic or anything. It's like very step by step. Right now, my next item would be to figure out how to get like everything here. I'm pointing anything here centered. Like, what is the best way to go about that? This is more like of a design problem versus like code. Code, we have to get that code pretty quickly. It's just to get to at least have something working and then go from there. There are parts of it that you would have wanted me to go more deeply into. I wanted this session 1 to be focused purely on like UI, trying to get like a good enough front end working. I was hoping session 2 will involve more like a back end, using consuming APIs, things like that. So, but I'm curious if there are like parts of this you want to go more deep into or not. But yeah, this is probably the last. Of course, my this thing is still running. As I'm updating this, I'm going to as I'm updating the code, I'm going to ship to GitHub. But we're past time now, so this will come to the end of the live stream. If you have questions, you can take more questions here too. Before I close out. Let's see. Okay. Yes, Omar.
Okay. Hi, Lota. Thank you so much for this. It was really good. Even though I was lost at some point, to be honest, because I'm pretty early at this. I'm pretty new. So I would appreciate if maybe the next one you're going to do is going to be more beginner friendly. Because like some of the terms you are using, yeah, I was a bit lost. I can't lie. So like when you talk about installing skills, I think I pretty much know how to do that because I have like listened to some recordings, but would have been nice if you like just did a quick like overview of okay, this is what you can do, blah 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 blah. Yeah, stuff around that basically. But overall, like I think it was a good one. Just yeah, like for your next session, you should make it a little more beginner friendly. That would be nice.
Okay, thank you, Mom. Yeah, that'll be something to think about. Do you guys any other questions? Thank you, Omar. Any other questions for anybody? Let me see. Trying to do that. Okay. All right. So that's the end of this session. Hopefully, yes, I needed feedback on. So I've heard from Omar. Were there any? Thanks, Joke. Were there anything that you were expecting, like you were hoping to learn that you figured that like that I didn't necessarily cover on this one? Or are there things that you're looking forward to, or like you're hoping that I cover for the next one? Yeah, Mark.
Yeah, so more so like what you covered, I wanted to see how you would apply like some form of animation guidelines to your work because I noticed with the cut of the last one, you had like a swipe thing going on, and I was able to see that here with the GSAP and is it GSAP or SAP? Anyone with that, and then with those as well. So I feel like I'll look into that, and I'll probably look into what skills library exists for maybe more motion focused experiences. So I think I was able to find that. I think that's something like
this person has a animation skill. They have a course first of all for web, but they also have a skill. Where is it? I can't find it here specifically, but I know if I dig a little, I'm going to find her skill. But this person definitely is like she's very good at this point. I don't know if it's he or she, but they are very good with like animation. They have they have like some great courses as well. So I'll say to look into this person if you don't already. You know them, right? I think so.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, they have a good animation course, and they also have a something on something here.
Okay. I'll probably dig through her tweets and see if I can find the skill one.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere, sure. I found it one day, but some reason I can't find it anymore. So yeah, let me just put this on the chat. Okay. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for coming. Thank you for everyone that asked questions, that added their feedback. Omar, Mark, Victor, you are very active. You had lots of questions. Everybody else too. I want to see what you do out there. I'm really excited for this session, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. Bye-bye.